many times have we heard someone say, I have such a sweet tooth, or I just want a bite of something sweet? Well, there's a very good reason why we hear that all the time. And you're going to learn why that is and so much more on today's episode of Your Best Life. Stay tuned. Welcome to Your Best Life. I'm your host and healthy living correspondent, Beth Schomp. Today I have a very special guest with us, Lizbane of Lizbane Life and Balance. Liz is a holistic health coach, and as a health coach, she educates people on how to live their best life by making better food choices. Today's episode is how to crush your sugar habit. But first, Liz, you're a health coach. I'm sure you make all these great food choices, and I bet you really don't struggle with a sweet tooth. Right?
Well, actually, I did my whole life. Starting from an early age, babies are given sugar. They're given cupcakes on their first birthday. And the minute you get a taste of sugar, like I did as a child, we become addicted and we want more. So I actually dealt with a really strong sugar addiction my whole life, only up until the last couple of years when I really worked on learning how to eat clean and real whole foods. Have I decreased my sugar addiction. So I do allow myself a little bit of chocolate every day because I don't believe in restriction, but I really have conquered my sugar addiction.
So there's hope for all of us.
Absolutely.
So Liz, why do people struggle so much with sugar?
Because the truth is, sugar is as addictive as cocaine. It touches a part of your brain that releases dopamine, that feel-good hormone, okay? So when we eat it, we want more. The minute we put a piece of chocolate or ice cream or candy or cookies in our mouth, our brain says, I want more. So I like to tell my clients, it's not your fault. We can help reduce the sugar cravings because I have lots of tricks up my sleeve, but it's not your fault. It is highly addictive. So our brain and our body are fighting against this. No matter what our willpower is, it is addictive like a drug. So that's why so many people struggle with it.
Wow, that's eye-opening.
So too much sugar over a lifetime really does damage to the lining of our gut wall. People hear about their gut all the time, but for most people, they don't really understand what's happening. But to keep it very simple, Beth, the lining of our gut protects our organs from bad toxins and bad stuff going in our body. But too much sugar can actually break down the lining of the gut wall, which allows toxins to go into our bloodstream to reach our organs. And that can lead to chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation leads to disease.
So when it's eating through the gut lining, that's what we know of, or we hear the term leaky gut.
That is correct.
Okay.
Right.
And then leaky gut leads to inflammation, chronic illnesses such as autoimmune diseases.
Absolutely. So people think, well, it's not so bad to have a scoop of ice cream before bed. And one scoop of ice cream before bed is fine. But it's when we do something every single day and we do it in excess. And the problem in America today is that too many people eat sugar in excess. So their bodies are being infiltrated by white sugar, white flour, which is really damaging the lining of their gut, which is leading to the chronic disease. The two number diseases in the world are obesity and diabetes, and those are both impacted by too much sugar.
Right. Is there an acceptable amount of sugar that one can consume on a daily basis?
Yes. So women can have 25 grams of sugar a day, and men can handle 45 grams of sugar a day. But the definition of 25 and 45 grams is what's really important here.
Okay.
So people don't realize that sugar is in almost everything they buy at the grocery store. Tomato sauce, for example. You can go down the aisle at the grocery store and you can pick out a tomato sauce, and in 1 cup, there can be 25 grams of sugar.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful when we're reading labels to look for the sugar content. Now, here's a good example for you. When my husband and I travel, he likes to order a ginger ale on the plane. And by the time we get home, he usually has a headache and doesn't feel well. And the reason is one ginger ale has 45 grams of sugar in it. And what that does is it gives you that energy and makes you feel great, but about an hour later, your blood sugar crashes. But what I do when I travel, because I always bring food with me, because I don't like to eat the food at airports, I bring a Lara bar with me. A Lara bar is one of my favorite snack bars because most of them are not so healthy, as you know, Beth.
True.
But a Lara bar has 2 ingredients in it, the one I choose. It has cashew nuts and dates. Now, dates are delicious food filled with lots of great vitamins and minerals, but they do have a high sugar content because they're dried fruit. So a Lara bar, one Lara bar has 15 grams of sugar. Now, that's not something I eat on a daily basis, but I will eat it on an airplane while I'm traveling, and I put that towards my 25 grams for that day, and I consider that an acceptable food to eat, along with other fruit like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Those fruits are great for you because they're low in sugar. Whereas other fruits you might consider like peaches and watermelons, which are delicious and should be enjoyed when they're in season, are very high in fruit sugars.
So to be clear, so when we're talking, for instance, as women, 25 grams of sugar, I guess my first thought is that doesn't mean I should use all 25 grams every day, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's one thought. But the other thought is that I need to be aware in that 25 grams that we're also talking about fruit sugar as well as the sugar that's found in milk and the sugar that's in the cereal and the sugar that's found in bread and all the other things that we eat. So when Rich has that ginger ale on the plane and he's already had the daily allotment just in that one can, what would you suspect he had in his the full day? How much sugar do you think he actually consumed in the whole day?
Well, that's a great question. But because I pretty much cook 3 meals a day for us, he doesn't get a lot of other sugar in his diet. But the bottom line is that to really get in front of sugar cravings and really manage it, we need to start being super aware of everything we're eating. We need to read labels. We need to eat real whole foods, lots of vegetables. Otherwise, the food industry is putting sugar in our bodies at a speed that we can't really handle. So we need to become more aware of everything we're eating today.
That's a good point. What would you say are your top 5 tips for crushing that sugar habit?
Okay, number 1 and most important, we need to identify where the sugar is in your life, okay? And that just doesn't happen in 5 minutes. You need to spend a couple of days looking at what you're eating and when you're eating it. So without you knowing it, we talked about tomato sauce. You could be making a beautiful bolognese for your family, but you could be putting in 30, 40 grams of sugar into that through the jarred sauce. So we need to identify.
So journaling.
Journaling is a great way to start. Some people, it's just more obvious because they're eating 2 scoops of ice cream every night before bed. Some people are eating sugared cereal every morning. These things are obvious, so you don't have to journal them, but it's a good thing to take a look at it and really find those areas. So for example, I worked with a young man recently who every day was drinking 3 iced teas, the bottled iced teas, which those happen to have about 25 to 30 grams of sugar in it. Once we identified that for him, it was much easier to begin to figure out how to take that out. So identifying is number 1.
Perfect.
The second thing I like to talk to my clients about is called crowding out. So let's use the ice cream before bed as an example, okay? You need your ice cream before bed. You sit in front of the TV. It's your relaxation. You've earned it. You've worked so hard for the day. But we know we want to take it out of our diet. So we introduce other foods to add to our ice cream. Nuts, seeds, blueberries, a cup of chamomile tea. Add it to your existing ice cream. Now that might seem like a lot of food before bed. So maybe after a couple of days, we'll cut back on the ice cream just a little bit.
Smart.
Maybe just half a serving. And I don't mind if it takes 2 weeks, but every night we're going to just reduce that ice cream a little bit until the nuts and seeds and blueberries and tea, that is our special treat that we look forward to. So we crowd it out with other healthy foods, and we do it slowly so as not to feel like we're being restricted.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so identify, crowd out. Number 3, I want you to drink water all day long, okay? Water really helps with everything in our diet,
So true.
okay? So if you come into the house, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're dying for that piece of leftover cake from dinner last night, I want you to drink like a large glass of warm water. And just wait 10 minutes because most of the time, Beth, we are dehydrated. And when we're dehydrated, we want something and we think it's something sweet when really our body needs water. So number 3 is water.
We're mistaking the craving.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right. Number 4, sometimes we also have to identify the root cause of our sweet tooth, right? It could be as simple as sleeping poorly or high stress. Those 2 things cause us to reach for sugar because, as we talked about earlier, sugar taps that part in our brain that makes us feel good. So when we're exhausted, sugar makes us feel better. And when we're highly stressed, sugar makes us feel better. So if we can begin to identify those 2 things and possibly work on making those better, that can help with the sugar cravings.
Awareness is key.
Awareness is great. And number 5, which I think you're going to like, is don't restrict sugar. Okay, I have found a really great brand of chocolate called Hue Chocolate, which I love because it's non-dairy. And I keep it in my refrigerator, and every day after lunch, I have 1 or 2 pieces. And I love my Hue Chocolate. It's probably like 5 or 6 or 7 grams, but I allow that for myself because I'm very cautious of everything else I'm eating.
Sure.
But restricting and saying no sugar, that's gonna work for about a week or so, and then we're gonna go right back into it.
And we rebound.
So identify, crowd out, water, find the root cause, and allow yourself a little something sweet every day.
Those are great tips.
Thank you.
This has been fabulous. You're a wealth of information, and I know that I feel, and I'm sure our viewers feel as well, so much better equipped on how to combat this battle with sugar. So if any of our viewers wanted to reach out to you directly and inquire about your services, what's the best way for them to do that?
Great. Well, first of all, Beth, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to more conversations about health and wellness
Me
together. And you can reach me on Instagram. I'm Lizbane, Life in Balance. You can direct message me, or on my website, which is lblifeinbalance.com, lblifeinbalance.com. I hope to hear from you. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. Now, if you have any questions about our topic today or any other topics for that matter, feel free to email me directly at yourbestlife9@gmail.com. Now, don't forget, be sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, be happy,